In this video, we're going to be replacing a fuel pump on a Mark 7. Now in this video, you're going to see multiple things. Removal and installation of the pump, and then we're also going to be taking apart the entire assembly to upgrade the innards to the APR high flow version, which you would upgrade if you had a bigger turbo, MPI, some different upgrades. So if you're just looking to remove and install your fuel pump, we will have timestamps to allow you to jump right to those spots. Now, if you're watching this video and you want to know if you have a bad low pressure fuel pump, I'll show you real quickly an easy way to check that. On a Mark 7, when you pull off your engine cover, you're gonna have this, which is your high pressure fuel pump. To know if you have a bad fuel pump, you can see immediately I have fuel coming out and it sprays just like that, which means you have fuel. You also can turn the key on at this point and it's gonna spray fuel right out of this hose. And that means we have fuel coming from the back of the car. Now, if you don't have fuel in those areas, you either have a bad low pressure pump, the module related to the low pressure pump, which is also back there, or a wiring issue to those places. Check your fuses too. When you're working with a fuel pump, removing or installing, you will want to make sure your car is as low as possible, meaning no gas if possible, zero gas. We're going to start by removing these child locks, pop them out, and then we're going to remove these guys like that. There we go. You can see they have a bar in there, and you got to like pop them up and then past that. You got to like pull down like that and then forward. You got to remove the rear seat. Pretty easy. Grab your seat on the front and pop it up. In the back of the seat here, it's kind of like hooked in like this. So you have to kind of push it forward, down, and then up. Down and then up. So you push it in like this with your knee and then rotate it up. See how that loosened like that? See that? I did it. This is our fuel pump right here. We're gonna remove this guy. Is just a rubber grommet. You kind of peel it up. This has been out before, so that's why it came out that easy. Then we have this cover. It hooks in back here and then you pop it from the front over here. There are clips that we gotta pop like that. There's one here and there's one in the front. Oop, there it goes. Pop that one. And then we're also gonna pop the one on this side as well. There we go. So what you're popping is right here. One, you're pushing in there. The little like waffle areas that are stamped line up with where the clips are. Okay, so connectors on our fuel pump. This is a red locking tab. You gotta pop that up and it will allow you to unplug this fuel pump. We're gonna pull back on this tab right here. I'm gonna try to do it so I can let you see. I'm gonna push down on the connector to allow it to release. And then I'm pushing back. I actually felt it release. And then you can pull that right up. These are gonna be really dirty. We've been in here before, so you will wanna vacuum this. I've already vacuumed this out once before. For this connection right here, we're gonna push on the tab right here, and then you're gonna pull back. So I'm gonna use my fingers because it's easier. So I'm pushing down, and then you can see, oh, there you go. You can see it push in, and then you pull it up, and you're gonna have fuel spray out. Like that. Now, one thing I want to note is right here, underneath is where the actual fuel pump module is, and that clips in. You'll have to get kind of way underneath there before you can see it, and then you'll have to unclip it if you need to get to it. We're not messing with that, so that fuel pump module is going to stay, and we're going to take the fuel pump out. That module could be a potential cause of a problem, so just making you aware, if you did have to mess with the module, that's where it is. There is a special tool for this. No one's ever used it. No one even knows it really exists. It's a figment of your imagination. We're just gonna hammer on it to pop this trim loose. There you go. Now we got that out. Before we pull this out, we're gonna vacuum it again, because again, we don't want any of this stuff in our tank. We're gonna pull our fuel pump out. There's a fuel pump seal. We're gonna just pull that around there like that. Now you will have connections of other lines and stuff on the bottom of your tank. And you also have a sending unit in there that's also in. So you gotta make sure you're careful with all of those items. Okay, so we have a borescope in here just so you can see what's going on, because otherwise it's impossible. So right underneath of our fuel pump, so you can see this is our fuel pump lines here. You can see they attach all it to the pump housing up here. and then they go down, and you can see there are connections right there. So these need to be removed. You can see those. Got to take them off. Just like the top connection, that green one, there's the push button on the one side, and then you slide. So actually, here, so you can see push on this side, and then you pull it apart like that. So I was pushing here and then pulling it apart. The same thing goes for this other one. Oop. Right here is a connector. If you push in, we can remove that connector. And you can see you drop that fella into the tank. And now our fuel pump is out. Now for context, these are the lines we're talking about removing. They need to come out. We have 2 lines and then the plug for the sending unit on the opposite side. This sending unit is only gonna be there for all-wheel drive cars because this wire comes from the other side of the tank. If you have a front-wheel drive car, you will not have this. So what you see here is the APR kit. This fuel pump is inserted into this fuel pump down there. But first we have to disassemble this thing. Okay, see this guy right here? First thing we do is push down on this, it's spring-loaded. And then we gotta take a pick. Oop. We need that.
What was that?
That was the clip that holds this in. If we don't find that, we will not be able to put this fuel pump back together. Stay calm. I was about to tell you, you can't lose that, because if you do, you won't be able to put your fuel pump back together. And it came out way easier than I expected. Here it is.
Oh, lucky.
Thank God. So that is what I just ricocheted all over the place. So we're gonna take this fuel sending unit off, and there's a little tab right here. And then we should be able to just pull it up and slide it off like that. Now this should be able to just slide up and out, just like that. So there's a little bit of tension on this hose. Just make sure you don't snap it off, okay? What we have to do is separate the inside of this from the outside housing. You can kind of see there's like different plastic pieces here. And we do that by drilling. There is a larger drill bit that's an 8mm. We're putting that one down. 6.5mm. It's on there, but you're gonna have a hard time seeing it. So it's the smaller one of the two. What we're drilling out are these 2 holes right here. And we have to drill them all the way out to the bottom, through the bottom. So the instructions say drill fast, but slow. And what they mean when they say that is use a high speed, but don't ram it down to try to get through it fast, because if it grabs on it, it might crack the housing. And if you crack this thing, you gotta buy a new fuel pump. Crack. Oh. I didn't like that at all. Okay, I think that just sounded scary. I'm gonna show you the bottom. We're gonna mess with this bottom later, but that's the hole. So you can see this is the hole we just drilled right here, and this is the one we're yet to drill. So the key with this is you don't wanna snap this off of the housing it's a part of, which in this case we have not. So as you saw, as these pieces kind of come off, dump them out so that they stop getting stuck in the way of the drill bit, because I could see that causing it to crack. To be clear, I'm still nervous. Like you're burping your baby. Your baby in this time is a plastic thing. God. Whoop, whoop. Y'all, also, by the way, you want to see how a fuel sending unit works? Look. So as your gas goes up, it puts these things, these contacts across those 2 things. Ooh, that's empty. Ooh, that's full. Ooh, that's empty. Ooh, full. Ooh, empty. There you go. Let's keep going. There you go, see? Once you get through it, it's smooth. Smooth as butter. I successfully didn't break those off. We got one more. That's over here. Yep. There we go. What we're drilling the holes for is to separate this. This is all plastic welded together. So you have to be able to drill it to separate it so you can pull it apart and then swap that pump out. Okay, now we're gonna drill from the bottom side. This is the larger 8mm drill bit. This is one of the holes we just drilled from the top with the 6.5, and the 8 is supposed to drill down only 3mm in, which is only a very small amount, and enough to break the plastic welds. So we want to make sure that we're careful. We don't let the thing bite too hard and crack anything. So I'm nervous. Okay, that felt like at least 3 millimeters. That felt like at least, that literally went in so easy. Okay, all right, I just let it go in a little bit. I'm gonna do all 3 of them just a little bit like that. And then I'm gonna try to separate it and see if it will come apart. So once those have broken free, this part right here should wiggle off, because that's what mounts this assembly to the outer part. So we're not deep enough yet. If you have one that's holding on like this one feels like it is, we might need to wallow this one out. And if you don't know what wallowing is you take your drill, go in, and then you kind of rock it around like that. I got it to pop on this last side. There we go. And as I continue to kind of be patient and wallow it, there was kind of a crack pop noise as I was kind of prying. But you gotta be patient, because if you're not, you'll break it. Ooh, look at all that. Ugh. By the way, there's more gas in here still. And this, as you can see, is your fuel pump right there. That's what we're replacing. We're gonna take this out, and first we gotta release this from the fuel pump. See there's a little tab right here? You gotta be real careful though. There's a little tab on that side. I'm gonna see if I can show you that. Oh, there, here you go. See that tab right there? You have to pry this guy past that. So there are 3 of those clips. So there's one here, one there, and one here. And so I'm gonna try to work it around. Yeah, there we go. I feel amazing because I showed you the whole way too. Old pump, new pump. See that? Now APR's instructions mention using EKP plus and minus to find the wires. They show a GTI pump, which is all on one connector. Because this is all-wheel drive, it's on this connector. So there's an EKP plus and minus right here. And then you're gonna go to the bottom side of the pump right here, and you see there's these 2 wires, these 2 black wires. So you follow them, and they go down, unsurprisingly, to the fuel pump. Not sure why they do it that way, but maybe just so people don't get confused. But I'm just gonna cut these fellas right here, and the other one, and I'm gonna give ourselves as much slack as possible. They then mention cutting this wire. They call this red. This looks like a ground to me, which is brown, but I don't really know why that's like that. I'm gonna start working on getting this assembly out of here, which is the next step in our process. So right here there's a release tab, you see that? Just like that. That guy's out, boom. Now we're gonna pop this pump out. That wire is gonna hang on, but I want to just in case. And I just push downwards, and you can see it kind of pops out. That pump is going away. I'm being a silly goose, okay? Now there are tabs holding this trim ring inside the housing. One of them is right here. The other one is right there. And the last one is only gonna be on the other side. I can't see. But what we do is we gotta pop this trim ring past that. If I had looked far enough forward in the instructions, I would know if I need to reuse this and I can worry about breaking it or not. But I hadn't done that yet. So here we are, worrying about breaking it. There we go. There's the one. Here's the one fella. That's what I had to threaten it with Flavortown. I wouldn't count on me not doing that though. There we go. Here's the tabs you're trying to get past. 1, 2, and 3. Do we need this? Not sure yet. So now what we need to do is remove a section of this area here, which I'm going to show you right now. So I colored this with a Sharpie, and this is the section we need to remove. And so we are going to get to grinding with our Dremel. I don't know if this is the right fitting on the end. It frankly is the one that's on there right now, and I don't feel like changing it. I'd probably opt for a different one if I had the choice to start over, but this is more of a grinding tool than it is a cutting tool, but I'm gonna go swap it out because it was a dumb thing to do. I knew it was dumb, that's why I said it, but now I'm showing it to you. So I did that Dremlin, I cut it, and I was gonna crack it out. Kind of a problem here. Okay, here we go. Now we're gonna remove this siphon tube out. Looks like we gotta rotate it like that to get it out, just like so. Now we're gonna take a razor blade, this is from a knife, and all these areas, if you look, these are areas where we were grinding earlier. See right here where this screwdriver is? There's all this excess flashing on this other side. Same thing goes for over here and over here. See all that excess flashing? So we have to use a razor blade and cut it off like that. Now we're ready to reinstall this siphon tube and this siphon tube adapter. And that just, if you see, it's the long guy, and it just sticks on there, and it press fits onto here. When they say it press fits, it's a tight press. Oh, there it goes. Okay, once that's on, we're gonna reinstall this inside our housing and snap it in just like the opposite of how you got it out. Now we're gonna install these 3 screws, and the short one goes underneath where the fuel level sensor mounts, which is, this is where that mounts. And so that guy will go here, and then the longer guys will go here and here. Next, we're gonna take these 3 spacers and then drop them onto our bolts that we just dropped in. So now we're gonna get this in, and we're just test fitting this to make sure that everything fits properly. So we're gonna just lower it in there like so. Then we're gonna clip this level sensor in place to make sure that everything clears properly. If it doesn't, then it means you haven't trimmed something appropriately. But I think I have. If you look right here is where I trimmed. If you don't trim enough, you may not be able to get the sensor in because it's not, this cutout isn't out properly. But I did a splendid job. Go me. I did a wonderful job, an immaculate job as a matter of fact. Now we got this housing, this is for the pump adapter. There's a notch there, and a notch there. These all line up with the notches that are in this housing, as same as before. So we're gonna stick this up in there, and then we're gonna rotate that back. And then they say rotate it back as far as you can to where the screw's not gonna touch this housing. All right, now we're gonna go put our pump in and just feed our connector in, and then get the pump kind of fed through the adapter here. Gotta give it a little bit of wiggle. Now I'm gonna rotate it this way right here, and then we're gonna take this adapter, we're gonna stick it on the end there, like that, all the way down, and then we got our seal, which I lubricated, and we're gonna stick it on top right there. Rotate it back, and then slide it up into the housing like so. They want us to rotate this screw portion back towards the back as far as possible without hitting this screw hitting. Ready to get our wiring set up. This red wire is the power wire, and this wire right here is the EKP plus. And if you look at the top of the connector, there's a plus on the one side, a minus on the other side. So the right side is the plus side, and so that is the positive. So we're gonna wire this guy to that fuel pump right here. So now I'm stripping back our wire to get the sheathing off, and then we're gonna put a butt connector on there. Okay, so I dropped our pump into the housing, and the reason why I did this is because you don't wanna crimp any of this stuff with it all disassembled, because what you'll do is you'll try to put it back in and all this stuff will be interwoven and tangled, where things like the fuel level sensor will be woven into that stuff and you'll be really frustrated. So better to mock it up like this, lay it in place, and then we butt connected this one. Here we have the negative wire. Right here, EKP minus. This is a wire they call a red wire in their instructions. This is a brown wire, which is a ground. And then we're gonna butt connect that to this black wire that's on the pump right now. Got our last crimp there. I'm gonna do another crimp. Just the last thing you wanna do is have a loose crimp and then have to take this thing back out because you have a fuel cutout. Always pull on your crimps, yank them hard. Better to come out now than to come out later. They tell you don't use an open flame because they don't want you to set your car on fire. You could, but that would be dumb, so don't do it. It's so satisfying to watch heat shrink, isn't it? We got their sock on, or Nathan called it a napkin. We're gonna put this assembly back in place. Everything's heat shrunk and beautiful. I reinstalled everything to where that I had previously dropped. So here we go. I have the bolts in. I pushed them all the way up. I laid it on its side so they don't fall out because the spacer is in the middle, remember? So I have the nut in my socket here, and then I'm gonna slide it in place like this. We got our bolts tightened up. We got a 5 mil on one side, a 10 mil on the other side. Tighten them up. Don't go crazy. You'll snap the shit out of everything. Don't do that. We're gonna slide this guy in gently, ever so gently. We're good to go. We can put this back in place, and one of those things goes there. The other one goes over here. If you remember that spring, where put this fella back in. Remember, just like this. The clippy guy that we almost lost on uninstallation needs to go back in. It's like moves all around while you're trying to push on it. So I kind of trapped it in between. There we go, that was the move. Now before we show reinstalling this in the car, let's talk about why you would want to upgrade your pump and other questions around that. First question is going to be, why would you upgrade your pump? So upgrading your pump is going to vary by car or by tuner. If your tune on your car dictates you need a fuel pump, for example, our turbo upgrade required us to upgrade the pump as per APR setup. They say, hey, if you want this turbo with this setup, you need an upgraded pump and a high pressure pump and multi-port injection. That varies by tuner. So every tuner is going to have different parameters for different things. So something I can hear somebody asking at home is, can I upgrade to this pump and will it benefit me on my stock car, or if my stock pump fails, do I want to get this? It's probably not a great idea to increase the flow of fuel without a tune related to it. Will it be okay? Probably, because the car will adjust the pump down, but you're not going to see any benefit from that. The car doesn't run out of fueling because it has the right amount of fuel from the factory. So unless you're upgrading other things, you don't need to upgrade the fuel pump. Make sense? So if your fuel pump failed and you're thinking about upgrading, don't. Just buy a new fuel pump. Go to our website, shoptap.com. We have it. If you don't know what the right one for your car is, shoot us an email. Say, hey, here's my car. I need a fuel pump. What can you recommend? Ring, ding, ding. Hello, thanks. Thanks for that email. I bought it. Bye. Now we're ready to go back in. First thing I'm gonna do is get the lines that we got attached to those. I swapped to my purple gloves because these are nitro gloves and they don't fall apart in fuel like my latex ones do. So you can see, oop, I dropped them in again. Okay, me scoozy. Two ones, a fat one and a skinny one. They attach to these two. The fat one attaches to this fat one right here. Like this, ready? 1, 2, 3. You wanna make sure that you get them in the right orientation so you don't like intertangle them. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. That one made a click. That was a much better click. Plugs back in over here. Ready? That was anticlimactic. What you want to do is rotate this in, and you got to feed this sending unit down into the tank first and then drop it in. Now we're gonna take our new fuel pump seal and I'm gonna drop it in. I'm just gonna lift this up. And what I'm gonna do is seat this in place in the tank. It actually needs to like sit into the grooves of the tank, and then you'll just slide it into the seal basically. Once your seal is all the way in, make sure it's seated properly all the way around. The key with this is orientation. And I had an issue with my, like the angle of the pump underneath, and it was kind of moving around. So I had to I took the seal back out and then was kind of wiggling it around to get it seated back in place. And our orientation should be just like this, just like that. There you go. And see, this tab piece of ours is cracked off, but it should sit like that. It should sit squarely between these two. And then our seal, you should feel no movement or wiggling at all. And I can put my lock ring in now. What I want to do is just get it tapped in a little bit just to make sure that it is started, so the fuel pump doesn't pop up on me. And once our fuel pump's in, all we're gonna do is stick our line on and then push down, like that. Big guy will do first, and then this one will do here. Now, at this point, it is likely to be worthwhile to cycle your key and make sure you hear this fuel pump turn on. Because if you don't, you've either done something wrong or you've misdiagnosed your car and it didn't actually need a fuel pump. You have another problem. You probably forgot to check the fuse, where you just chucked a part at it hoping it was going to fix it, and it was really just a 10-cent fuse. So that's what it should sound like. This one's going to sound a little different because I have the APR upgraded internals, but you should hear some version of that regardless of what pump you're installing. Thank you so much for watching. If you need a fuel pump upgrade or a factory replacement pump, we will have links to them in the description, or you can just go to our site, shop.com, where you can find all your pump needs. And remember, purchases like this or any others help support videos just like this one.